Many witnessed as the plane came flying across Taipei, and in this video, it can be seen a short distance away.
Oh!
But in this one, you can see as the plane banks sharply and clips a tacky reef.
Y'all ever send dirty texts to the wrong woman? They got the same name, but they don't look nothing alike. Like one chick is a 10, and the other one is the exact opposite of that. Can you guess which one I was sending the dirty text to? I sent the dirty text to the jacked up looking chick. Now what do I do? Cause now she texted me back and she noted I thought she was a different woman. What are we gonna do, subscribers? What are we gonna do? Well, given the fact that currently I'm screwed given my situation, it makes perfect sense that you guys sent to me 10 craziest clips before the whores. Horror, not the sluts. If you guys want to watch the original video, the link is in the description down below. It is by Tragedy Tales. Let's do this.
When you tap that record button, you have no idea what you're going to capture. You may capture a heartfelt moment, a happy golden memory, or you may capture a nightmare.
Word?
Hey folks, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new around here, my name's Ryan from Tragedy Tales, and over here we cover anything tragic. Whether that be a plane crash, a bizarre accident, we cover it all. But this video is a mega video. A re-upload by popular request, a top 10 of the most insane footage captured before disaster that we've covered so far. So strap yourselves in and grab a drink. Let's get right into it. This shocking footage was captured by a 28-year-old man named Armin Schmeider. Now Armin was a wingsuit pilot from Italy, and he was a very experienced skydiver. He had a young child and a following online that would watch him conduct acts that most of us would flat out refuse. Armin's latest obsession was wind gliding. In August of 2016, he had been gliding for 1 year and felt invincible, but he wanted to push it that little bit further. So Armin trekked to the top of a mountain near Kandersteg in Switzerland, and here he began live streaming himself. On the live stream, he can be seen preparing his suit. He was smiling and clearly very happy to be doing this. He seemed very much in his element. And when he was all suited up, he told his viewers that today you fly with me. After checking that he'd fully equipped himself, he slid the phone into his backpack and leapt from the mountaintop. As his phone was in his bag, you can hear wind and noises, and it sounds like it's all going well, until it's all abruptly ended by a shout and the sound of impact.
Ooh. What happened? Was it attractive?
The live stream turned silent, and the only thing that could be heard was the eerie sound of cowbells ringing in the distance.
They had cows?
Viewers watched and reacted in absolute horror. Some sent messages in chat requesting that he write or say something, but there was no response.
I'm not a whore.
The stream went on before his phone battery finally died. The next day, the police discovered his body near Kandersteg at a popular base jumping location.
Did he have any money on him?
The cause of his death was blunt force trauma to the head.
He had
However,
weed?
they could not be sure why exactly the accident occurred.
Blunt force, he had weed on him. Did he have any money? They check his shoes. You never know. He could have valuable stuff. You know?
This tragic footage begins on April the 9th, 2015. An 85-year-old man by the name of Clem Schultz was at his home in Fairdale, Illinois with his wife, Geraldine, who he always referred to as Jerry. Now, Clem and Jerry had been married for 25 years.
Your wife named
They built
Jerry?
a life together that was filled with love, laughter, and happiness.
Gay!
This continued up until that fateful day.
Gay!
Clem and Jerry woke up and had their breakfast. There was a light breeze in the air, but absolutely nothing to cause concern. Until around midday on April the 9th, the SPC issued a 10% hatch tornado threat across much of northern Illinois and small portions of nearby states. This detailed the potential for several tornadoes, of which one or two had the potential to be pretty strong, at least EF2 on the enhanced Fujita scale, so around 111 to 135 miles per hour or stronger. Because they'd seen it all before and thought that it wouldn't affect them, they decided that they'd wait it out in their house. Later that day, the pair had just finished eating supper when they heard a subtle rumbling noise in the distance. They knew without even looking it was a tornado.
This my
They glanced out the window
sandwiches,
to confirm their worries. A huge, deadly tornado had formed and was swooping its way across their small town. Now, this was no small tornado. This was an EF4 tornado, much stronger than was predicted. An EF4 tornado is capable of reaching speeds up to 200 miles an hour and capable of dealing incredible amounts of damage to homes and infrastructure. As it swept by, it caused catastrophic damage. Houses were destroyed, trees were toppled, and debris was scattered everywhere. Clem rushed upstairs to the top floor of the house and began recording with his phone, while his wife remained in the kitchen downstairs. They both prayed it would go straight past them. You can see in the video the angry tornado as it whirled away in the distance. Its dark, ominous presence instilled dread in all that saw it.
I don't get it. That's it? Where's the rest of it?
The tornado does look like it may go straight past them until it switches direction and begins heading right towards Clem and his wife.
Oh, yeah, that's not good.
It got closer and closer, and within 2 minutes, they were now in the eye of the storm. The recording soon goes black, and all that can be heard is violent wind, destroying anything it came into contact with. And just like that, as quickly as it had come, it was gone. The recording went quiet, and nothing could be heard but a gentle breeze. The tornado had completely destroyed their house. The chimney came down on Clem, crushing his hand and vertebrae, but luckily, he survived. Tragically, his wife Jerry was not so lucky. She was crushed as the house collapsed around her.
Damn.
Here, underneath all that rubble, Clem remained trapped until he was spotted by tornado spotters.
That's one way to get out of a marriage. Ha ha! No.
Who just so happened to be in the right place at the right time. As people helped heave him out of the debris, one of them told him, "Don't look down because your wife is under you, and she's dead." Clem's life was never the same after that day. The phone that was used to record this video was later recovered in the rubble, and apparently Clem went on to make a full recovery.
Damn, that sucks, man. I wouldn't want a wife, but I would hate to lose one, you know? That makes sense, right? Like,
this heart-stopping GoPro footage was captured in April of 2022 on the majestic Meiji Mountain, located near La Grave in the Southern Alps. The video is pretty short, but very intense. It starts with serene scenes presenting a beautiful panoramic view of the magnificent mountains.
Do that,
he finds himself captivated by the beautiful, picturesque scenery. However, while he's admiring it all, an unforeseen event takes place. A sudden hole materializes underneath him. In an instant, the skier helplessly descended into the depths of the dark void.
Oh, shit. Ah!
Remarkably composed, the Frenchman utilizes his skis to slow his fall, gracefully maneuvering down the near vertical slope as though he was defying gravity. Now, footage before horror doesn't necessarily mean death. Amazingly, against all odds, his audacious strategy to slow his fall succeeded, allowing him to find a small foothold on a narrow ledge. From here, he peered into the deep, dark chasm that almost claimed his life. Fortunately, his ski companions were well prepared for these sort of things. It took the group approximately 15 to 20 minutes to make their way to the crevasse in which he'd fallen. When they got there, the painstaking rescue efforts commenced, involving the use of crampons, pickaxes, and shovels to finally free him from the icy grip of the glacier. Thankfully, the unnamed skier, described as an experienced mountaineer and ski mountaineer, not only survived the ordeal, but also exhibited astonishing composure. Following a brief respite, he even resumed skiing, leaving his companions in awe of his calm demeanor.
I don't know about that one.
This footage went viral and left countless online viewers speechless.
Damn. Is them spiders? There's no spider webs, man. Y'all ain't say nothing about spiders, man. Come on, bro.
Skydiving is an inherently frightening and high-risk sport that involves leaping out of a plane with just a parachute between you and certain death.
Absolutely not.
Personally, I'd never attempt it, but loads of people, thousands of people love it. However, if I were to try skydiving, I'd definitely...
Open? What happened?
Heartbreakingly, during the descent, Yong attempted to release the parachute, but encountered a failure. Both the main chute and the emergency chute refused to open. They plunged 13,000 feet to their untimely deaths, rendering the video where Tyler joked about his survival eerily haunting.
Yeah, I bet.
Family and friends watched on through tears as a coroner's van removed the bodies of two men who had skydived early this morning.
Deputies responded out to the scene and located a tandem jumping pair that did impact the ground without the chute deploy.
An investigation into Tyler's death revealed that despite Yong's extensive experience of 700 jumps, he actually lacked the necessary license to perform that tandem jump. Furthermore, he was still in his probationary period and had not yet received proper training. Adding to this tragedy, authorities then discovered a history of around 20 deaths associated with the parachuting center since they opened. Shockingly, despite the tragic deaths of Tyler and Yong, the center's owner, Bill, just chose to keep the facility open and even resumed skydiving operations the very next day. When confronted by the police in this photo, he tried to deflect blame. Witnesses described him as devoid of remorse, compassion, or any meaningful concern for the tragic situation on hand.
It's an unfortunate situation, but if you see a car wreck, they don't close the freeway. It's something that, unfortunately, in this sport, in skiing and scuba diving, there are fatalities.
Of course, Tyler's family took Bill, the owner, to court, accusing him of negligent homicide. After a long and expensive court battle, in March of 2021, justice was served as the court found Bill guilty, awarding Tyler's family a compensation of a whopping $40 million. This victory marked the end of a terrible, terrible chapter.
Worth it.
However, Tyler's spirit of adventure,
Worth it.
his infectious smile,
I'll make a
will
new
never
baby.
be forgotten.
Damn
He
that.
wanted to do so much in this world,
You can
but
have
sadly,
my kids
his life
tonight
was
if
abruptly
you give
cut
me
short
$40 million.
due to negligence.
Give me the money.
Amazingly, the parachute center remains open to this very day.
Give me money. Give me money. Bro, give me $40 million. You can have my mother. Yeah,
On the 1st of August 2022, a man named Muthu Kumar, who we'll call Muthu, had reportedly been in charge in overseeing the
gonna edit
preparation
that
of
out.
porridge for an upcoming festival in India. The sticky, sweet concoction was being prepared in large metal containers in the middle of the street with no lids. Muthu can be seen swaying back and forth. He's clearly going through some sort of phase, so he holds onto the wall for support.
He's on that shit.
And while he's in this haze, he looks desperately around for a seat.
He's on that
Captured
shit.
on CCTV, in what looks like a moment of poor judgment, Muthu decides to perch on the side of a boiling porridge vat. Passerbys looked at him in confusion, knowing that he was so
soup!
close to falling in, and one even reached out to ask if he was okay.
Soup.
But before anyone could assist, Muthu attempted to fully seat himself on the
do
porridge.
that. Yeah.
He overshot it
Yeah.
and plunged straight into the sticky
Yeah,
boiling
do
mess,
that. Delicious.
submerging up to the neck in the stuff. Now submerged in boiling liquid, Muthu went into complete shock. He tried to pull himself out, but every surface that he touched was scalding.
Delicious.
He just completely froze in panic.
Delicious,
Many
nigga.
people rushed to his aid, pulling at his arms to help him, but he had fallen into such an awkward position.
Somebody get the Leary
Muthu was
seasoning
conscious
salt.
throughout, as 5 to 6 people worked to heave him out of the barrel.
Somebody
But
get
they
the
didn't want
honey
to get burnt
mustard for this
themselves.
nigga.
They pulled and pulled, and eventually the entire porridge vat fell over into the street, ejecting Muthu to the ground. People watched as he tried to stand up, and it was clear to see that he couldn't believe what had just happened.
But he's only half.
While he was able to walk away from the scene, his burns were catastrophic. He had the worst degree of burns on 95% of his body. They rushed him to hospital, but sadly, he passed away that night. Police's initial investigations found that Muthu did suffer from epilepsy, but they couldn't be sure if he was experiencing an episode when he stumbled.
He was making soup out of himself. He could at least put in honey mustard and Lowry seasoning salt. Huh? You don't just boil yourself
On
without
Sunday,
seasoning?
July the 23rd, 2006, the day started like any other for many residents of the county of Durham, England. In Durham is a park called the Riverside Park. This park is a large stretch of grass that has always been popular with visitors as it was often used to hold art exhibitions for touring art companies and bands. However, that weekend, something special had come to Riverside Park. It was an inflatable sculpture known as Dreamspace. Dreamspace was created in 1996 by British sculptor Maurice Aegis. Dreamspace, along with his other pieces of art, toured across Europe and was seen by thousands. Maurice and his team arrived on Saturday the 22nd to set up the sculptures and open them to the public the next day. That Sunday morning, it was bright and sunny with a light breeze, eventually attracting around 500 people to see his art. Of course, Dreamspace was the main attraction. The sculpture was indeed something that you don't see every day. It was a giant, towering, abstract maze that you could explore and walk around. It was made out of rubber and inflated similarly to a bouncy castle. It measured a massive 112 yards. It boggled the eye just looking at it. As the day went on, the wind slowly started to pick up, but they prepared for this. Maurice told his employees to secure it with more rope to the moorings. As Maurice made this commandment, he left the scene for a tea break. Within moments of him leaving, pure pandemonium broke out. While the inflatable structure was tied to the ground with ropes and moorings, it proved totally insufficient. Around 3:30 that afternoon, the structure rose, and one by one, the pegs snapped and came out of the ground. Many people who were inside at the time were forced to leap out as it gained altitude. Staff fought to keep it on the ground, and even Maurice came out to assist holding it down. But even with around 40 men still holding it, they stood no chance. A summer storm had built, and huge gusts of wind began to carry the structure up to 30 feet in the air. This is footage from the incident. People watched as this gargantuan structure drifted through the air. It then hit the CCTV camera and began tumbling into a nearby car park.
Oh, shit.
But what goes up must come down. After some solid airtime, the structure plummeted to the ground, where staff rushed in to provide aid. It was total chaos. In total, 13 people were injured and multiple children suffered punctured lungs, broken ribs, not to mention internal bleeding. The most catastrophic of injuries was sustained by a 39-year-old woman named Claire and a 68-year-old woman named Elizabeth.
That's hot.
They had been crushed in the fall while they were inside. They were rushed to the nearest hospital, but sadly, they both died that evening. When staff were questioned, they said that they'd witnessed the structure blowing at least 2 feet into the air the previous days, and even on that Sunday. They reported it to Maurice, and he was aware, but nothing was done. In 2009, Maurice, the creator, was charged with negligent manslaughter, and after a 4-week trial, he was found not guilty. He was, however, charged £10,000 for breaching health and safety rules. Maurice said that this affected him greatly, and said that he would never build anything like Dreamspace again. But as fate had it, he would never get the chance, as he also died just 2 months later in 2009.
How did he pass out?
On Sunday, July the 24th, 2021, the day began just like any other for the residents and tourists of a place called Himachal Pradesh, located in India's northern state in the Himalayas. Now, Himachal Pradesh, also known as HP, is a largely mountainous district, well known for its trekking, climbing, and skiing areas. It has beautiful, scenic mountain towns and views that attract tourists from far and wide. In the previous days leading up to that Sunday, the rainfall was described as relentless. As it was India's monsoon season, it went on and on, causing generators to fail and flash floods to sweep across villages. Not only does the rain cause havoc with generators, it also causes numerous landslides almost every year. Around 1:25 p.m, dirt and rock began to loosen and crumble down the mountain face, just above the Sangla Chitkul Road in HP. Before anyone knew it, it was raining boulders the size of cars.
What the
This footage was captured, and you can see huge boulders raining from above, crushing anything they come into contact with. Just watching this gives me goosebumps. Just the feeling of seeing these things coming towards you must have been just terrifying. The boulders continued to rain from above, ricocheting and bouncing as they tumbled down. One boulder slams into a bridge, taking it out like it was nothing. Now, just below the landslide was actually a tourist bus carrying 11 people, including the driver. and as they drove along without a care in the world, they heard the unmistakable deafening roar above them. They could do nothing. A huge boulder slammed into the bus, killing 8 instantly, while another sadly succumbed to the injuries on the way to the hospital. One of the tourists on the bus was a woman named Dr. Deepa Sharma. As Miss Deepa enjoyed her backpacking trip across India, on July the 24th, she shared this eerie photo on Twitter with the caption of, "Life is nothing without Mother Nature." She would die just hours after posting this. The Prime Minister announced a compensation of £2,000 to each of the victims' next of kin, and a £500 financial aid was given to the injured.
Motherfucker, what? $2,000? That's not even a little bit of a funeral
This famous
cost.
footage begins in the centre of Taiwan's capital, Taipei. At around 10:52 a.m. on February the 4th, 2015, TransAsia Airways Flight 235 departed from Kinmen Airport in Taipei to a neighbouring island. The plane was an ATR-72 turboprop plane carrying 53 passengers and 5 crew members on board. The pilots were pretty experienced, both ranked as captains, with one with a total of 4,914 flight hours, and the other pilot had 6,922 flight hours.
Damn!
Now takeoff went well, and the passengers soon settled in for their short flight. But shortly after launch, and I mean literally within 2 minutes, a fault in the second engine caused it to have issues, causing it to lose power completely. The pilots worked to fix the issue, but sadly they misdiagnosed the problem and shut down the one working remaining engine. The aircraft reached an altitude of 1,630 feet before it began its descent. Many witnessed as the plane came flying across Taipei, and in this video it can be seen a short distance away.
Oh!
But in this one,
shit!
you can see as the plane banks sharply and clips a tacky roof before crashing into the nearby river.
What
This
the?
was the last recording from the flight deck. Rescue operations immediately began and got to work pulling people from the flooded wreckage. Emergency teams cut open the plane while it was in the water, but could not reach the passengers trapped in the front section as it had completely submerged. Of the 53 passengers and 5 crew that were on board, only 15 survived, including a 2-year-old boy and 1 flight attendant. This incident made many question how a perfectly fine plane with 2 experienced pilots could come crashing out of the sky for no apparent reason.
Good Jesus. We in the sewers?
This clip has a little background, but it's filmed on Bolivia's Death Road, famously featured on Top Gear's Bolivia special in 2009.
Oh my. Stop there!
As far as I can tell, the clip was filmed in December of 2011, and it shows a double-decker bus as it travelled on Bolivia's Death Road. They were driving along when all of a sudden they came across a part of the road that seemed to have been damaged in a landslide. It didn't look like the bus could possibly make it past, but there was nowhere to turn around and no way to reverse back on themselves. The driver commanded his 50 passengers to get off the bus and wait on the road while he attempted to maneuver it solo. And this is when the nail-biting video begins. The bus drives on and it looks like he's going to make it. As all the passengers stood by watching, within a moment, it all goes wrong. Unbeknownst to the driver, the back wheel failed to get a grip on the mud. Its entire back end teetered dangerously close to the precipice, and as the driver slammed on the accelerator, the bus's back end slid over the edge. Within a blink of an eye, the entire bus slipped straight out of view over the rocky cliff. It's only when they look over the edge that they then realise how far he's fallen. The bus tumbled 164 feet below, killing the driver on impact. This left the passengers stood by, completely confused as to what they were going to do, and in complete shock at what they had just witnessed.
Well, guess we walking now. Oh, shit, we got 2.5. We in the cave again. Why is the water so dry?
This story begins in Huntsville, Alabama. On October the 2nd, 2021, a 29-year-old woman named Christina Nance was finally reported missing after she randomly stopped turning up to work and replying to messages.
Turn up!
Now, Christina was described as a very fun-loving person. She loved to sing and was positive and sweet.
Show your pussy, bitch!
When her family reported her missing, they told the police that they'd not seen her since September the 25th, 1 week previously. While Christina was known to the police through the crisis intervention team, they were perplexed as to why she would just up and walk away, leaving everything behind.
I mean, nobody can smell her nowhere. Nowhere. My cousin riding in the way with maggots all in her face.
Her family couldn't help but wonder why nobody noticed the smell. The police were also confused as to how she'd managed to get in there. With the shoes and the window, their initial thoughts were immediately murder, so they immediately checked the surrounding CCTV cameras. As these were unmonitored, anything could have happened. The police spent hours sifting through the CCTV footage before they came across something. Captured on CCTV, they discovered the bizarre footage of what looked like Christina walking around the Huntsville police car park on September the 25th. On that day, it showed her approaching unmanned cars and sitting on bonnets. She does this for 10 minutes before she approaches the van. She checked the van, checked that it was unlocked, opened the doors, and for an unknown reason, wants attention. Sadly, for one reason or another, she couldn't or didn't shout for help, and nobody found her in there until 12 days later.
Damn.
By the time they found her, an autopsy showed that she'd been dead for 8 to 10 days. However, her cause of death was inconclusive.
Damn.
Her family were absolutely furious and demanded more answers. They feel, despite the video footage, they couldn't help but wonder why she didn't shout for help, why she got in the van in the first place, and why she was left undiscovered for so long. They accused the police of manslaughter for leaving the death trap of a van unlocked, and the police openly took responsibility for it. Due to this, Christina's family are currently working on suing the ever-living daylights out of them.
What the fuck? You can't sue them for that. Some damn child locks. Some child locks, man. You gotta not have them.
This crazy footage begins in Nepal on the 15th of February 2023. At 10:33 a.m, Yeti Airlines Flight 691 left for its scheduled flight from Kathmandu to Pokhara in Nepal.
Yeti
It was around
Airlines?
a 25-minute journey. Now, Flight 691
But this plane look like it's made out of school paper. Nah, come on, bro. You
was a 15-year-old twin-engine turboprop ATR 72-500. That day, the plane was under command of Senior Captain Kamal KC with Anju Katiwada as co-pilot. They had 21,900 and 6,396 flight hours, respectively.
damn.
That day, the weather was clear and perfect for flying. Now, the flight was going well, as smooth as you'd expect, until they came into land at the newly built airport in Pokhara. As Flight 691 came into land, something wasn't right. The landing gear opened, but at 311 feet, air traffic control noticed that the aircraft nose was noticeably high. All of a sudden, the engines dropped to zero thrust and the left wing dropped. Within just a second, the plane crashed into the ground. A video filmed from the ground showed the aircraft banking steeply to the left before crashing 65 meters away. This was also all captured from within the aircraft. Now, I will warn you, this footage is not for the faint of heart. A video that was streamed live on Facebook